It's been key in my healing process, spiritual progress, shifting negative focus, keep me hope when I was feeling hopeless, metaphorical dopeness, open my mind, remove the noose when I was choking. The truth is, poetry saved me. Life was getting the best of me. I felt like a user going through relapse. After moving forward for such a long time, I felt myself moving back, losing track of all the hard work that I've put in. I was angry, at times speechless. When people started taking my kindness for weakness, I'll teach them that was my fault. Do I go back to the old me just to show them not to play with the new me? Then I breathed. I saw my friend's story. He was performing poetry. He asked me to come to events, catch a vibe. Then something lit up inside. But there was fear. Always had stage fright, but I did it. Became that moth that walked into the light. Fire ignited. Hearing those clicks gave me goosebumps inside. I was so nervous at my first ever performance, but I took it all in. Went from being in the crowd to being on the stage. What a change. My heart started to race. Then I did it. I conquered my fears. This is me now. Need to make up the arrears. I watched myself rise like Felicia. Then I saw myself saying goodbye to Felicia. When she said you have to go to war for this, I had me hooks like, yo, I need to listen to more of this. Uncle Stephen Del Sol always gets me fired up. He calls me the boxer, says my lines are like jabs and uppercuts. Some will say poetry is not full-time employment. I would say, can I get a big enjoyment? It's a privilege for me to share the stage with all of you talented poets. You are all titans that never die. Every poet is a warrior fighting and singing their own battle cry. It's still unreal to me, the love that I get from you all. Every poet takes you on their journey trip. Exercised my demons so much I started charging them for membership. But remember this, be yourself and take in this information. Because on the other side of fear, there is greatness. And I always give homage. That friend whose stories I watched was the master of sauce, Chef Adonis.
Welcome to another episode of Legal Hangle with Emmanuel the Law Holloway. I have with me today my guest all the way from London, UK. He's a spoken word artist. He's a visual artist. He's also what someone I'll call a pseudo rapper. And his name is J. Meggido. Today we're going to be talking about how he found poetry and he made it to power. J. Meggido, can you please introduce yourself to the audience in your own words?
Hi, good evening. It's evening here. A happy 4th of July, everybody. I know it's a big celebration for you guys out there. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, today is Independence Day. Yes.
Yes, that's right. Yes. So my name is Jay Meggido and I'm from London. Poet, spoken word artist from London.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I just released my album, Battle of Meggido, and I'll leave it there for now.
Oh, welcome to the show. We started out by listening to one of the track on your song. It's called Poetry and Me. You know, it's a track that talks about how you started performing, how you used to have stage fright until you got on stage one day and you conquered your demons. Can you tell us how you actually got started writing poetry? How this all started?
To be honest with you, for many, many years, I wrote things randomly on and off. But in terms of wanting to go up on a stage and perform, we're probably talking about 2 decades of wanting to do this, to really be honest. But, you know, since I was a kid, that's been my biggest fear, stage fright. I always used to have those big plays in school, but when it comes to rehearsal, I would do it. But when the parents were there, I wouldn't show up. I was that kid. So it comes from a real deep place. And I just got to a point where, you know, it's like you'll never know until you actually try. You know, I put myself in a position where I put my name down on an open mic for one of my friends' events. So once my name's been put down, they call my name, I can't not do it. So, and then I remember getting up there for that first time, I was literally sweating, my throat was dry, hands were clammy. But yeah, 90s Rules was the first poem that I've performed. and that's the poetry to me. There's a video on this on YouTube. Is I actually has that clip of my first performance as well that I put in there. So realistically, when what really made me start to do it is I explained in the song. My friend Chef Adonis, who's a poet, I saw on his story he posted something about poetry, and I asked him about that. He asked me to come to some events. I started going, and so before I had the courage to go and perform, I went to events just to get the feel of it, you know. And yeah, I was really, really feeling it, and I could see myself doing it. The atmosphere, everything, the poetry levels. I was thinking if I can just write anything as half as good as this, I'll be happy. So, and that's pretty much how I got started.
And if you finally did, how was it for you the first time you got on that stage? Did you memorize all your lines, or you reading your poetry from your notes?
No, I wanted to make sure I want to have that crowd connection. So all my poems, all these ones on the album, I know them by head, and I practice them a lot. So this one, before I even read it to anyone, I practiced it for I think at least a month. I already knew it by head. So when I came there, it was just about lacing it and just not, don't let the nerves get the best of you. Say the words, and I managed to get it out. So that's the most important thing.
Hmm. And at what point did you decide to release your first album, which just came out? It's called The Battle of Meggido. At what point did you decide that, I need to release an album?
Quarantine, if I was to really be honest with you.
Hmm.
Um, I was supposed to go on holiday for my birthday in April. And normally, as you know, I go on holiday every year for my birthday. I couldn't do that this year. And I saved some money aside, and I just thought, do you know what? I'm just gonna go to the studio and just do it. And literally that's pretty much how I did it.
Wow. So out of the quarantine, was you brought that idea that, you know what, I can make an album. And the album is titled The Battle of Megiddo. What does that
Yeah.
mean? What does that mean to you?
Well, in the intro, I talk. People always ask me, what does Megiddo mean? For those who don't know, it's like a sacred place in Israel. Megiddo is a place where many sacred battles have taken place in history. So I've been using the name Megiddo for myself, I think, give or take about more than 10 years. I even have it tattooed on my arm. So it means a lot to me. So I use it in terms of, for me, it's just about my own personal battles, and it's about the battles that we face as people with ourselves. So I
So
think that's one of the. Yeah, go on.
do you consider this album a battle or a challenge?
Yeah, I mean, it is based on my actual experiences. There's pretty much this whole album is the battles I faced with myself, and the reason back to poetry to me a little bit. The reason why, what made me push more into poetry, I was going through a stage where I felt like people were trying to take me a certain way, and I was getting very angry, and I was thinking about retaliating, but then I just thought about it. I said, just channel your energy, put it somewhere else. And in the end, I turned to the poetry, and I jumped in both feet, and just I haven't looked back since then.
So poetry saved you.
Really, it really, really did.
Yeah, your album consists of some spoken words. I call them plain spoken words, or just some
Mhm.
plain poems. And others has some, they seem like an hip hop rap songs, but you still get your message across. So what would you say to
Mhm.
people that call you a rapper? Do you consider yourself an hip hop artist?
I can't say I do, to be honest with you, but I think there's a thin line between the poetry and hip hop, and there's different type of poetry, there's different type of hip hop. Just depends on the sound. My style and everything like that will depend on the type of hip hop and everything like that I listen to personally.
Hmm. Yeah, because with some of your tracks, some of them, the only thing that the only thing missing is just the hook. If you put a
Hmm.
hook to some of those titles, those are titles that people can listen to and dance to in the club. What do you say to that?
No, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. There's a very thin line between that, and I always try to do different things. This is something that I can look to a bit further down the line. I'm not shy to experiment and try new things. So
Yeah, for people who are listening in and wondering what we're talking about the album, The Battle of Megiddo. The album consists of about 11 tracks. Some of them have music on them, some of them don't. They're just plain spoken word. So I'm going to play one of those tracks that can be played, that you can see as a rap album, or I mean like a rap song. So the what
mhm.
that one is Knight's Rule. Let's just sit back and enjoy this track. This is about how you shine. Because believe me, that's what the world notices. It doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter who you are, what you believe, what your name is, where you come from. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you shine, and the world sees you shine.
I come to the realization, growing up in the 90s is like an ancient civilization. See, my first phone was a Nokia 5110, kick, samba, Mozart 40 with the baddest ringtones back then. We played snakes on our phones. Back then, we had to compose our own ringtones. We played it, headers and volleys, nutmeg rush. I swear down I was in love with Jack and Gladiators. My first ever crush. We watched Fresh Prince, Pokemon, Looney Tunes, Animaniacs. My waves made me seasick. Used to rub Dax. Pick a Disney film. They were all fire, but for me, Lion King got me every time. I swear down. Watching Mufasa die made me cry every single time. Every single time. Every single time. Hey millennials, you might want to Google these. We had yo-yos, Tamagotchis, aliens that never had kids. We played pogs, had videotapes and cassettes. We used to make sex noises when our friend's mum would call. We used to use our imagination to become 10 feet tall. Silla took us on blind dates. We used to love the surprise. Back then, we used to have stars in our eyes. Back then, we used to have stars in our eyes. Kakarot! When Vegeta self-destructed, my soul erupted. Now, don't get me wrong, the early 2000s were cool, but for me, that's why the 90s will always rule.
Yes, that track seems to be nostalgic. So, what made you go back in time to, talk about what you did in the 90s? And you have some element of comedy in there.
Well, I think it's just childhood memories, and I know, this is going to be something that resonates with a lot of people who are from that generation. They will fully understand everything, I was saying. And that was the case. I performed it live for the first time. Everybody went wild, and it was just like, wow, you know? So literally, it's like hopping in a time machine. It's like reminiscing your childhood and some of the good times before we were adults, before we knew about work and all these kind of things. It was just like a simpler time. And for me, it's like these things that I'm talking about, I will still watch them now like I was watching them back then. They don't go out of fashion. So like The Lion King, I mean, it's still watching Mufasa now. It still has that same effect it had on me when I was a kid. I mean, it's that real. So these things never get tiring. I mean, that's your childhood.
Does that still make you cry?
I don't know about cry, but hurt. Actually, maybe.
And your album has different themes. It has I call it, it's very powerful and empowering. But then you have these themes. You talked about social justice. You talked about judgment of society. You talk about romance, politics, infatuation. self-love, comedy, prophetic truth, and mental health. All these themes is a. Did you intentionally decide to make an album that talks about all this, or these are themes that came along through some kind of subconscious creative process?
Yeah, I'll say they came along. I mean, when I'm writing these poems, I wrote all of these poems individually before. There was no, there was nothing I was gonna say. Okay, I'm gonna make an album with this song called this. It wasn't the case. It was literally I wrote these poems. These different subjects have been probably floating around in my head for years, and I talk about. I feel like some things that a lot of people don't want to talk about or too scared to talk about or whatever. You know, when you go there to perform at these poetry events, it's a free. It should be a free judgmental space where you say wherever you want, without any judgment or anything like that. But I still feel with some certain subjects, people tiptoe around them and are afraid to talk about it. But you have to speak your truth and you have to say what's in your mind, I feel, and that's what I've just tried to do.
Hmm. So you just wrote everything from the art.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's talk about some of your titles. I find some of them to be very, very, very deep. And one of them is, I think my favorite title there is "Why." Why is it's the deepest of all the titles in there in my own estimation. You ask some rhetorical questions without giving answers, but all those questions are very powerful questions. I'll run through some of them. You said something like, "Why do we call boys sun and don't call girls moon?" That's a
Oh
very
yeah, yeah,
brilliant use of words. He said- then it said something about why don't we realize that if you vote, it's an illusion of choice and an illusion of hope. Wouldn't some people consider that a pessimistic way to look at democracy?
well, that's just the way I see it. A left wing and right wing is like still one plane. you know
Hmm. Left
that's
wing
that's
or
just the way
right
I see it.
wing, still one plane. Wow, always deport.
Oh.
So, do you, still one plane. So, do
Well,
you, do you participate in the election process?
I'll be honest with you, Manuel. That's not for me. I don't feel like these people. There's too much injustice in the world. I mean, there's just too much. There's too much suffering. There's too much unbalance, and I don't feel these people say some certain things, but when it comes down to it, they're gonna do whatever they do anyway. They say whatever they want to get into power. Once that happens, they're just gonna do whatever they do anyway. I
Hmm.
mean,
Then there's another question you ask. They say, why do young men die for old man's war? Can you explain that?
yeah. I mean, these people in charge, they send the other people to go and fight their wars instead of them going to fight their own wars. So
And he
you
said
know,
something. Okay. He said, why is it that everything black is portrayed bad? You said something about blackmail, black sheep. Then you compared that with things like white lies. Can you explain what you mean by that statement?
yeah. And you think of everything black. You think of everything that's bad. That's the way it almost seems. The black cat is the black cat is the one that's cursed. Um, I think what else is there? Black magic is considered to be bad. Blacklisted is something that's bad. You know, everything that seems to have the title black is being entitled as bad, and it links up to us as people. We're black people. It goes hand in hand. Well, that's what I feel anyway.
In that same title, too, you talked about slavery, about 400 years of slavery, and about how blacks have been freed for several, I mean, some hundreds of years, too. But then you talk about the first thing black people buy are chains. I call this a chain reaction. You said that itself is like a reenactment of what happened during slavery. Can you shed a light on that statement? That was a very powerful statement.
I'm just referring to looking back. You look at all these hip hop videos and everything like that, and this is what is glamorized. It's not. This is someone. This is some rich. Let me just say, this is some rich white businessman telling them, listen, this is what you need to do, and this is what they're feeding back to our own communities. Took the physical chains off us and put the mental chains on us. So that's really what that's about.
Hmm. So you think with rappers and black people wearing all those big chains, it's symbolic of the change from slavery?
Yeah, to a certain degree. Yeah,
So you think it's a subconscious way of reenacting what happened during slavery?
I believe so. Yeah.
That is deep. So what inspired you to write that poem? Why?
For me, so many unanswered questions without any answers, and these were some of the things that have been floating in my mind probably for years. So that's literally, why is a very, very popular, very, very, very popular poem of mine. I think it's got probably the most crowd reactions. I'm sure you can imagine. There's many things. It touches on many, many, many things, many, many layers.
Hmm.
So I'm very,
Actually,
I'm very proud of this one.
hmm. Actually, yeah, like I said, it's my favorite, favorite title too. Wow. How long did it take you to put that track together?
Mm, I'll say it probably took me about. I think I wrote it in about a day overall, but I spent a lot of time. I sat there for like hours writing it. I went back, changed a few little things, took some things out, but mostly probably about a day. But I sat there and I wrote it for hours.
Mhm. It's also a track here called Imperfection.
Yeah.
What prompted you to write that track?
So this one, I feel it is about society as a whole, but I feel like the pressure that women face regarding their bodies and image, just in general, is too much and it's unrealistic and it's like it's never ending. Prince EA, he's a very, very talented poet who I really, really like. He has a line or something that goes like, there's never enough. All the makeup in the world, it wouldn't be enough to fill those impossible standards, that women have to go through. He has
Hmm.
he has a line along those lines. So this is something that subconsciously came to mind, but just generally overall, just the pressures that women face. Society not beautiful enough. You need to be a size 0 to be considered beautiful, and all these kind of things.
Hmm.
Society always tells you you need to look like somebody else. The Kim Kardashians and all these in the magazines, they never tell you it's okay to look like you and just be happy the way you are. They never tell you that. They never push that agenda. So,
Hmm.
and I've
So,
seen them. I've seen it myself. Many, many beautiful people, beautiful women who don't think that way about themselves because society has caused that. I felt.
so it's about self acceptance and self love.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
let's listen to that track.
yep.
Everyone looks different in appearance, but it's not about how you look. It's just about who you are, and that's what I think the most important thing is. Some people have beautiful souls, and I believe that if we could only see people for their souls, everyone's perception of beauty would be different. I want you to listen to me very carefully when I tell you this. I love your stretch marks. I'm a firm believer God does not make mistakes. We are all perfect in our own individual ways. We're obsessed with trying to fix ourselves. We hide ourselves. We kick ourselves because size 0 is belched and it stings like hell. Society can have you feeling withdrawn like a turtle going back in its shell. It's a Richter scale where the system failed the women. Told you need a ring before you're 25 or you're gonna be wishing well. It paints the image that without makeup, your beauty fell. Guys feel like they need to buy Gucci belts to boost themselves. I want you to listen to me very carefully when I tell you this. And if you get offended, I don't care, by all means. Ladies, make noise if you have to jump every time you put on your jeans. Your imperfections to me are unique blessings. Whether you're size 6 or 16, have love handles or back dimples, love yourself. Whether you got a gap tooth, freckles, or funny laugh, embrace yourself. Whether you're gay, straight, bi, trans, lesbian, congratulate yourself. No need to evaluate yourself. And for those who have surgically fixed themselves and it's gone wrong, congratulations, you've played yourself.
Wow, that is some powerful truth. What has been the reaction you have gotten, you have received from people who have listened to this track, or maybe while you've been on stage performing this particular track?
Well, actually, can I just say, 90s Rules and Imperfections, they both have YouTube videos and documentaries to go with them. So
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with the Imperfections, I got a whole bunch of people together who don't know each other, and it was just a fun day. We were interacting, we were having fun, and in the documentary, I got them to speak and say what does beauty mean to them. So, and it's really, really popular. It's really, really liked, and it's one of my proudest projects, definitely.
Wow. Can you tell people, do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, I do.
And what's that?
It's just put a J Meggido. Just put a J Meggido of 90s Rule, and from there you'll find it. Just as soon as you put J Meggido, I have quite a lot of videos, so it'll be hard to miss. But yeah, J Meggido, 90s Rule, J Meggido's Imperfection, and then you'll find all my videos from there.
Great. Then there's another track here. It's called "A Nice Guy." Nice Guy seems to be it's like an angry rant from a nice guy who has been friend zoned. What inspired that? Are you the nice guy that was friend zoned?
Now, this is definitely my own experiences, but it's not even, for me, this one is not, it's not about being in the friend zone. It is, but hear me out. It's like telling someone that you're just a friend, and that's fine. And as long as I can accept that. But you can't be telling me I'm just a friend, but if there's other girls around, you start acting a certain way, fighting for attention, doing all these things. And when even when it comes to other people know you're interested, but you're trying to act like you don't, like you're not, all these kind of things and all these mind games and all these kind of things. So that's really what that's about. So, and for the people who do it.
Yeah. He said friend zone is like death row. What do you mean by that?
Well, obviously, it's not a nice thing being friend zoned by someone you like. It's not a nice feeling. So that's how I was feeling at the time. Like, right, this is like a jail sentence. I'm going to get the chair. At the time, that's kind of how I was feeling.
You didn't feel free.
No.
So it was friendship without the benefit.
Yeah, basically. But this is where that comes in as well. The friendship's supposed to be a two-way thing. It can't be where they come to you and they're telling you all their problems and they don't want to hear anything you got to say. They just are there unloading on you, unloading on you, asking for your advice and not listen to the advice. Go back to the guy who treats you bad and comes back to you again. All these kind of things,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you actually said something like that. You said she comes to you for the Dr. Phil, then go back to him for the iron fist.
That's right.
So yeah. you are there for her emotionally, and then she feels safe with you, but they're not safe enough to date.
But then it's like it's like getting to have your cake and eat it, which is another line that I say. She's getting all the therapy, all that kind of emotional whatever side from me, but then she's going back to that and getting all the physical side. She's winning on both ends. This is like, yeah, these things like obviously happened like a long, long, long time ago, but I still remember, kind of thing.
So you were just the deputy boyfriend without getting the benefits.
Oh, basically, and this isn't just me. This is like other people I know who've been through this thing. This is a very, among the guys kind of thing.
I know. Finally, you ended up with something like so many of you ladies play more man games like Professor Xavier. No wonder you have so many X-Men.
Yeah, the first time I dropped that, the crowd went crazy, man. And it was mostly females too. They went crazy. Oh, my days. It's funny, actually. It's funny that you mentioned that. Today was this time last year. Today, I performed Mr. Nice Guy and uploaded it on Facebook. Funny you mentioned that. Honestly.
Wow. Can you perform the later the maybe the second half of it right now?
Of Mr. Nice Guy.
Yes.
Second half.
Yes.
All right, let me see. Okay, let me see. Where can I take that?
Start from the Dr. Phil.
Okay. Hold on. Just give me a minute.
Okay.
From Dr. Phil, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. When whole season is activated, that's when you get really complicated because you move up a level to psychiatrist. She comes to you to get the Dr. Phil. She goes back to him to get the Iron Fist. Now, I ain't no scientist, but that treatment is enough to make Bunsen want to burn her. So I've seen your face on nights out when I'm talking to other women. Smacked us, but we're just friends, remember? I'm having a good time chilling. Attention seeker 101. What's wrong? I'm fine. Okay, then bye. Then at 4 a.m., I get a 3,000 word essay ending with, I don't like showing you. You're mine. Is this woman all right? So let me get this straight. You don't want anyone else to have me either. You don't want anyone else to have me, but you don't want me either. You treat me like an old book on the shelf. These mind games you're doing ain't good for my health. See for yourself. Men are killing themselves, can't cope in this world, no one to help. But these are the cards that we dealt. Man up. Seen as weak if you felt. Men feel like they're alone in this world, but I guess all you want to do is talk about yourself, right? Be considerate. You might want to think twice. You don't want to be the reason why a man takes his own life. Check if he's all right. Now let's put this into view. Men get tired of dating broke women too. I mean, it's a double standard. Men are trash, so that makes you the dumping site. Men are not mind readers. If you ask if something's wrong and you say you're fine, don't give him the silent treatment. Try actually telling him what's wrong. Around the world, as we speak, there's millions of men out there who don't know what they did wrong for that reason. Just speak to him. Because I'm a nice guy, I buy dinner for both of us. 3-course meal and you don't spend. Let me tell you something. Some of you ladies play more mind games than Professor Xavier and wonder why you have so many X-Men.
Ooh! That is powerful. So let's take a short break and listen to one of your track. I'm going to play Beautiful Stranger.
Okay.
I snooze my alarm, late for work, rushing around. I get to the station, diversions in town. My route's been blocked. I sit on the train, and what do I see? This beautiful stranger sitting opposite me. We lock eyes, and she smiles. What a beautiful sight. At that moment, I felt like a deer in headlights. I was frozen, but I couldn't let it go. You are like the sunrise. Got a brother feeling tongue-tied. I must find the courage to tell you. Your beauty carries elegance. And I know it sounds crazy, and I know we just met, but I feel as vulnerable as I've ever been. I wanna bask in the ambience of your melanin. Your beautiful chocolate complexion, thick thighs, brown eyes, sucking your lips. I wonder what they taste like. Sucker and succotash. This situation sucks. I need to suck in this pride. Suck out these negative thoughts. Well, what if she thinks that I suck? Well, then suck it up. In order for you to succeed, you need to suck sometimes. You got me feeling like back in year 6 when I had stage fright. I smile back, you notice that. I look at you, you look away. You look at me, I look away. This is like a game of Russian roulette. We're both black. Stops are passing by. Where you getting off? I don't know that. Take a picture, it will last longer. Kodak. My heart's beating fast. I'm going insane. Prozac. But if I talk to her and get turfed, then she ain't all that. I'm lying. I continue to admire her divine Nubian body, shaped like an hourglass. In this moment, I feel timeless. Curves on your hips, got me hypnotized. I'm mesmerized. I can feel your energy, so radiant. And you ain't ashamed of it. Your hair looks good.
Wow. That track is about admiration, infatuation, and just plain lust. Did that actually happen?
I'll be honest with you, this has happened many, many times, and it's just really about not taking an opportunity because you just don't know what's gonna happen, you know. Sometimes, and this has happened many, many times, countless amount of times. So it's just like not taking an opportunity when you see it. You know, you never know. That could have been your future wife or something. You just let go there, kind of thing. But you know how people in London are not always as friendly, especially if you see the way some women are. So you even try to talk to them. So,
So,
you never know.
So
You never know what type of person.
So are you telling guys and girls to just take the shot?
If you see something you like that, yeah, this has happened many times, and there's that eye contact is being made, and all these kind of things, little smiles, and all these things, but you don't know if they're just being friendly or you start overthinking things, And the fact there's other people there, and you try and ask her for your phone number, she tells you to F off, and you're still left sitting there. I'll be hurt. So.
But then you still have to shoot your shot because you lose 100% of a shot you never take. So
This is true.
Yeah, with the beautiful stranger, you ended up eventually. You guys were going to the same place. Did that happen to you, or is it just something is that fictional?
Yeah, that one is just something I just throw in there. It's just like a second shot, Basically, that's what that is. It's just a little bit of a twist of fate kind of thing. That's all that one is. But that didn't really happen.
So in reality, in real life, sometimes people don't get to have that second bite at the apple.
Yeah.
So what's the main message behind Beautiful Stranger?
Take your chance because you never know. And this is myself included. I don't have the courage to just go up to a girl randomly and just, when I'm sitting like opposite her like that and she looks that good, I wouldn't have the courage to say it and just start talking to her like that. And that's just me being honest. Yeah. And this is what's happened because I've been too afraid to take the chance, even though some signs have been showed or whatever like that. I've just decided to just let it slide or let it go.
So have you been able to translate the fact that you were able to overcome stage fright to also overcome the fear of talking to the opposite sex?
It's not even a real fear. It's just that in a public place like that, just like that, it's some people I know, they got they just do it and they just, those are the people who gets results because they will speak to 100 girls and maybe 5 or 6 will give them a phone number or whatever. There's some people who just do it like that. No, I couldn't. Yeah, well, it's something I'm working on.
Okay.
I'm practicing what I preach, shooting
Great.
my shot. I'll let you know how that goes, by the way.
Sure. Yeah, because because your story also has to do with you just being a shy guy, and all of a sudden you got on stage and you started soaring. You've got, I remember watching one of your YouTube videos at your first performance. You actually forgot your lines, and the crowd were just egging you on. Then you got back on track and you finished it. So,
Yeah,
as
that was Mr. Nice Guy. They
Mhm.
asked me to rewind the line. I got the part because they asked me to say the line again, and then it's like, in the beginning when you learn, to jump midway through a poem that you haven't mastered 100%, it's hard to do. I got stuck for a while, but then it came back and I continued like nothing happened. So people are supportive. I'll be honest. Poets, audience, you can hear them. You can see you can hear the other poets as well, encouraging you, supporting you. So it helps me get through.
great.
It can happen, man. It's still scary being up there, and I was still very very new at the time, so it happens. But I'm not over. By the way, as well, I'm not over this stage fright thing. It's still there. I'm just hiding it a lot better. It's never gonna go away. I've been told, but you need it there. That's where the performance comes in. So this is what other poets have advised me and told me as well. So
Yeah, that's
it's
one of
still
the
there.
things. That's one of the thing about public speaking. No matter how many times you get on stage, or if you're a lawyer, you get in front of the jury or the judge, it's always there. And sometimes the
Hmm.
fear is there not to make you do better, to keep you on your toes. You get used to it, you get more confident, but that fear is always there, especially because it's different audience. You always want to connect,
Hmm.
but you can
This is
only get
true.
better. Yes. Then there's a track called Logic. In Logic, you
Uh-huh.
talked about mental health, you talked about the pressures of life. Can you tell us a little bit about that track and what inspired it and what message you're trying to get across with Logic?
So logic is just about how society is and how as human beings, the way we treat other human beings. I think that's the real thing about logic, about being stuck in the rat race, and how mental health is a big issue nowadays. It's always been there, but nowadays, especially regarding men, mental health is a very very big thing. This is because, well, I've come to, well, I would say it's because the way this system, the way the society is, it's not made for the human soul. It's not made for the human spirit. That's why people are so thrown off. It's not supposed to be this way. I genuinely believe that the
Hmm,
way we're living ain't right for our souls. That's why it's being rejected.
hmm,
This is why
hmm.
people lose their mental health and all these kind of things. That's what I genuinely believe.
Yeah, in that same track too, you also talked about blacks dying at the hands of police. Was that,
Hmm.
are you referring to what has been happening in the United States?
Mostly, yeah. We see what happens. We see what happens out there in the US. And we think the police, we complain about the police here, but it's nowhere near to that kind of level with the things that we're seeing, what's happening to black people there, not just men, to women, children. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Sometimes I just have to just turn away. I just physically can watch some of the things I'm seeing. It's that graphic, you know. So, and I've seen every time these policemen and all these people, they get away scot free, no prison and no nothing, scot free, like nothing ever happened.
Indeed. And you also talked about 40 formula. Do you want to, I would like you to talk about that a little bit. I find it
So,
fascinating.
40 years of your life, 40 hours a week, and 40% of your wages. That's what the system is. That's how it goes. It goes round like that. So that's really what that line is about. It's about this system, and this is how it is. You have to work for 40 years. You have to pay 40% tax, and it's 40 hours a week. It's not a coincidence, I believe.
What do you mean by that?
I believe it was purposely designed like that.
40 hours a week, 40 years before retirement, and
Percent tax.
40% tax. Okay, in the UK.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think I don't know what it is in the US, but it's generally like we can say platonic, metaphoric. But you get the gist of what I was trying to say there. By the time you work, you're 60 something. How much of your life really do you have left? You
Hmm.
know.
That's interesting. Then there's you said something about bombing people for virginity. It's like having you said bombing people for virginity is like having sex. No, you said bombing people for freedom is like having sex for virginity.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that means? Are you talking about places like Iraq War or things like that?
Well, everywhere, the Middle East, Africa, and when these things are happening, when these war crimes and stuff are happening, and they turn around, they're saying they're doing it for their freedom. How
Hmm.
can you be bombing them for their freedom? So, that's really where that comes in. It's always painted in the media. They're coming in to save them from themselves, but these countries don't get involved with the way you do things, but you get involved with the way other countries do things. That's where that really comes in.
That is deep. Actually, Logic is the second deepest track on this album. There you said there are a lot of truth in there. It's actually prophetic because with Logic, you actually give answers. So Logic is like the answers to why. Is
You
that
know,
connect?
I never actually connected it like that until you said it. I've never actually even thought about it. Wow, that's a very, very, that's a first. So
So
I
Logic
never,
is the
never thought about it.
if you listen to why first, then listen to Logic back to back, then you find that Logic is the answer to why. And why all the
Wow.
questions are rhetorical. Logic answers all that questions. And you left it with a very powerful ending. You're like, I'm a leader of the wolf pack. I do that on purpose to show that wolf don't perform in circus.
Yeah.
That is powerful. Wow. So tell me about yourself, Wolf.
Well,
So
yeah, I genuinely like the wolf. I have a very big interest in the creature itself. I love what it stands for, and I have a wolf tattooed on my I have two actually tattooed on my arm. So I'm just a big fan of the creature, what it stands for, how beautiful it is, the howl. I don't know if I can still do it now. I can do a very, very good wolf howl, like actual, but right now it's not happening.
it's okay.
But yeah, I mean that's how deep invested I am in it. Like I've always been fascinated by the creature. Its eyes, the way it moves, what it stands for. The wolf packs, the way they move, and the way there's a system the way they move. And if you yeah, that's the best way to say it. They're magnificent creatures,
Hmm,
and this is true. We don't see wolves performing in any circus, but you see tigers and lions and elephants, but you don't see the wolf
it's true.
do that.
Hmm. Even dogs too. Dogs can perform in circus. You don't see wolf.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. And you also paint, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And how are you able to do you connect your poetry with your painting or both of them? I mean, both of those things are mutually exclusive.
It's only recently when I connected the both. Um, I did it's a quick Instagram poetry video, The Art of Art. So I did a part one and part two for that where I connected the both. But before then, I didn't. But this is just recent. This is probably like a month ago. I done that.
And in this album too, you have like an Halloween track. What inspired that
Oh,
Halloween track called Monster?
oh, real life. So Monsters is about sleep paralysis,
Hmm.
and anyone who knows what sleep paralysis is knows how terrifying this experience is. You know, and this is something that I've been. I went through this like my whole life from when I was young. I was probably even younger than 5 when all these things started happening. But you think you're going crazy, you think there's something wrong with you, and all these things. And I never talked about it. I never talked about it until I really, really got older. And then I started speaking to other people and then found that they were having the same experience. And then I looked online. My friend showed me this documentary about 4 years ago, something like that, called The Nightmare. And it talks about people talk about their experiences, what they have with sleep paralysis with these shadow people. So that's what they call them. And there's this one particular, this hat man, they call him. He's literally a man wearing a hat, but he's all shadow, he's all black. And that's literally what they look like. And, when you tell this to someone who doesn't experience it, they'll think you're crazy. And I thought that for a long, long time, there's something wrong with me, I'm crazy. If something happens to you, you get tensed up, you can't move. You try to move, you can't move. It can be a very, very scary experience. But if I was to be honest with you, Monsters for me is the surprise package for me. Because when I first performed it, and every time I've performed it, people have come up to me and they've been able to relate with that. The last time I performed it, this woman came up to me. She was like nearly in tears. She's like, that was amazing. I've been telling my husband about this for a long time. He said I was crazy. But my husband was sitting in the audience when you performed that. And I turned to him and I said, "See, I told you." So, and
Huh.
that left me just like, wow, I can't believe. You don't know who it's gonna connect to, and she's just a normal woman, married with kids, and you know, and you just don't know who it's gonna connect with when you do these things. And for me, it was just like, wow. Then I learned like the real power of poetry. So that one is Monsters. So also as well with monsters, I refer to the human beings as monsters as well. So the monstrous things that we've done to ourselves, to other humans, to animals, to the earth. So I've linked it all together, and obviously there's some punchlines I throw in that I'll have that have monster references to these movies, Monsters Inc., Space Jam, and other things. So I've thrown them in as well to keep the whole monster thing going.
Wow. You talked about Monsters Ball. You talk about
Yeah,
humans
yeah, yeah.
that think that they are normal human beings, only to find out some of the evil they're capable of doing.
Hmm.
Wow, wow, that was powerful. And where can people get this album?
Well, it's on every major platform: iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. It's on all of them. Amazon, literally, it's on every major platform. So it can't be missed. Let's just put it that way. Whatever you have, you can get it, pretty much. So, but yeah, mostly people use Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify. But yeah, it's on every platform. If you want to hear the album, please feel free. Please feel free to add me on my social medias, follow my YouTube, get in contact with me. I'd love to hear from you. I'm a very approachable person, and yeah, I just love to know what people think of what I'm putting out there. And the feedback has been very, very good. I've been so blessed. I feel so happy. It's crazy. My phone's been going off these last 3 days. Crazy.
Wow, wow. Congratulations. Do you want to let us know what your social media handles are?
Um, if I type it in, would it show? If I type it in, it says chat. No?
No. And you can type it in.
No, because it's kind of difficult, but I'm gonna give it a go anyway. Add me on Instagram. So at JDTNOMEGIDDO. So I'm gonna repeat that. So at JDTNOMEGIDDO. And
About
from there, you have all the links to all my videos and everything pretty much. You'll have the link to all the things that I have out there. And you'll see my artwork too as well on my Instagram page if you want. So
thank you, Jonathan, for coming on Legal Angle with Emmanuel the Law Olawale today. It's been nice
thank you
and
for having
wonderful
me.
chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank
And
you so much.
I wish you the best as you continue your journey through poetry. And I find your poems to be powerful and empowering.
Thank you so much, man.
Keep on soaring. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for tuning in to Legal Angle with Emmanuel the Law Holowale. You can follow us on Instagram at legal.angle. And if you have questions or comments, send those to legalangle20@gmail.com. I'll be back again next week with another edition of Legal Angle. Thank you again for tuning in.
All
For
right.
now,
Thank you, Emmanuel. Speak to you soon. Yeah.
yeah, bye.
Bye bye.